interviewed last week for the Man, and I said, you're not very good at PMQs. And she admitted it. She said, it's more about panto in the show. We got the show. Carole Malone's with us.
Yeah.
Auntie Williams with us. Carole, Bev's outraged that she used the word
Well, I mean,
balls.
I was in the car yesterday and I had the radio on. I heard it. I thought, oh, my God, did I just hear that right? And then I heard the cheering and everything. But you know what? When you're talking about the difference between men and women and the trans issue, I think it was a pretty apposite, smart thing to do.
Yeah, so just to put it in context for people who didn't see it, that was what they were talking about, wasn't it?
She was talking about, in fact, it was the first time I've seen her skewer Keir Starmer at PMQs, and she did it brilliantly well. As you say, she's not often that great, but she really did it yesterday. I mean, she all but called him a coward. She accused him of hiding for the past 6 days, which he has been. Well, you know, and you said something on your Twitter the other day, and you just said, you know, he's waiting for the focus groups to come to their conclusion. And I thought that's exactly right. He's waiting for the focus groups, for the court of public opinion to decide which side he comes down on. But even yesterday, he said that he didn't, but Number 10 said that some women had been treated badly, the ones who'd spoken out in favour of biological sex had not been treated well. But Starmer hasn't apologised, and he hasn't apologised to Rosie Duffield yet, who was hounded out of her party, but with aggression.
She's now an independent MP.
She was there yesterday.
She was
sitting in the back, looking like she hated him to hell and back. But you know, and she was also denied the opportunity to speak as well, which I thought was shocking.
I thought it was a very odd.
The speaker should have let her in, but in effect, because if anyone deserves a voice right now,
that's right,
it's Rosie Duffield.
Because she stuck her neck out, didn't she? Before everybody else said that she would stand up for women's rights. Andy Williams, what do you make of Kemi Badenoch's language yesterday? For me, she was just being a bit of a caricature. I don't think it's really her.
I agree. I think it was a trivial way of behaving from, frankly, quite a trivial politician. I think this is whatever side of this debate you're on, it's serious and it's important, and we need to find a road where everyone can agree on, so that we can take the sting and the heat out of this debate. Because I think the last week's been really unpleasant, and I don't blame.
On which side?
On both sides. I really do.
Because I think it's been really unpleasant on the side of the trans activists who have given biological women very good reason not to share the toilets with them. Aggressive. The protests in London last weekend were shocking.
I agree, and at the extreme, classic example of where at the extreme ends of both sides of the debate, people have behaved very badly.
What's the extreme?
I'll tell you in a second.
Tell us the extreme end of the women's side, the biological work, because I haven't seen an extreme.
So if you look at that protest that you were just talking about last week, where there are people carrying placards saying "Burn the witch," burn the witch. I mean, whoever was carrying that placard, in my view, should have been arrested, because it's inciting violence, right? And you would have, if it had been a Palestinian protest or something like that, I'm sure they would have been. But on the other side, the triumphalist language, the sort of popping of champagne corks, the whooping and hollering outside court last Wednesday. It has been.
This is biological women who for years have had their rights spat upon. They've been diminished in almost every institution in this country. It's not triumphalist to actually celebrate something that actually gives you a place in society.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
It's not triumph. Of course, people are celebrating because for too long now, I mean, the NHS has been in the thrall of the trans activists for years, and women have had a second-rate service.
But I think the way some of these people have been reducing what is a complex question to just saying, oh, these people are men, and dismissing them, in quite an aggressive way, I think has been difficult to watch.
Andy, see, I think the aggression around this debate was entirely set by the trans activists.
That may well be. That may well.
Small number of very angry, confused men.
That may be the case, but then it's the responsibility of the other side to rise above that
and
put their case.
Come on.
It is.
The other side that has been trampled upon for years and years by these activists, people who have had lives ruined, careers ruined, who have been harassed, who've been bullied, who've been threatened. They should turn the other cheek.
And there are trans people also who've had their lives and careers ruined, and I think
have they?
Because
society has been on the side of trans people throughout this debate.
This judgment has to be respected. It's the Supreme Court, and actually, I think from a political standpoint, Keir Starmer's get out of jail free here, if you like, is to say, well, that's the court's ruling, we will have to abide by it. Now, I accept he's on a sticky wicket because he basically has done a massive U-turn, and Kemi Badenoch called that out yesterday. I don't like the way she did it, and the other thing is...
Don't you think she called it out effectively?
I think she called out that specific issue. I think she called out effectively. You pointed out just before we came on air, Andrew, that she's got a bunch of headlines in the papers she would want to have front pages on today. So
don't reduce it to that because Kemi Badenoch has been on the side of biological women for years now on this issue. This is not about...
People talk about her record in government, and actually, what did she practically do on this issue when she was in government?
What do you mean, what did she practically do?
Well, she was Women and Equalities Minister.
Yeah.
What did she
spoke out about the issue?
What did she practically do when she was Minister for Women?
She
spoke out. She didn't do anything.
It took Women Scotland to take it to court. Kemi Badenoch couldn't take it to court.
She also says that she was instrumental in the British government, the Westminster government, overriding what the Scottish government was doing, using
when Sunak was Prime Minister,
using the Devolution Act for the first time. It was the first time Westminster had overruled the Scottish Parliament over their, frankly, madness on allowing people to define themselves as
with the gender recognition certificate.
How stupid do these ministers look now? It's not too long ago Starmer was sitting on a radio show saying that women could have a penis. It's Bridget Phillipson, the education minister, saying just last year that trans people should be allowed to use all women's spaces, and now they're having to backtrack on that. And if the court has to tell you the difference between a man and a woman,
how did we get to this point?
It just tells me how did this minnow of a man ever get to lead?
We've got to wrap it up, but our inbox are very much supporting Kemi and saying she was right. But I think my point, and maybe yours a little bit, Andy, but maybe a bit different, it's just that if this is who Kemi Badenoch is, why have we not seen this before? She could have been saying he doesn't have the proverbials at any point, and yet suddenly she feels like, because the wind of change has.
I think
the wind has changed, the mood has changed.
I think this now marks a whole new style at the dispatch box for her with him.
Right.
That's my view.
You two will be back at our dispatch box in the next hour.